Today we're going to be making our Rosemary Mint and Juniper soap. This is one of our most popular scents. We're going to show you exactly how we do it. We won't be sharing a recipe, but we'll show you our process. See you in the soap studio. This is what our slab looks like. So we're going to be making one of these today. We're going to be making two more off camera. Each slab is 22.5 pounds of soap, which makes 64 bars. In this soap, we have our oils, which we already got ready ahead of time. In here, we have primarily olive oil, coconut oil, cocoa butter, avocado oil, and castor oil. So that's this particular recipe. We have some fresh coconut milk. We have our essential oil blend. This blend contains peppermint, rosemary, spearmint, and juniper berry essential oils. And then we have two layers in the soap. That's why we have two buckets here. Our bottom layer is green, so that's where this comes in. This is going to be our color and also our exfoliant. We have French green clay and ground juniper berry. And we ground this up right beforehand, so it smells really good in here right now. We have our lye pre-measured and pre-poured right here. This is our 50-50 lye solution. And then our top layer is just white. So it's going to contain the exact same ingredients, just without the colorant or exfoliant. On top, we have juniper berry and peppermint leaves, which we have right here. So we're going to be just adding those on top at the very end. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our base layer. The base layer is the green layer. Now, coconut milk adds a really nice creaminess to your soap. It's just a really nice ingredient, similar to goat milk, except it's vegan. And I have a lot of spatulas. We're going to make sure we get everything out of this container. Now, the other thing we're going to need in here is our essential oils. We put our essential oils in right away at the beginning because we don't want to forget to put them in. But also, I like the way that it gets blended up a lot better than if you put them in at trace. There are some exceptions. For example, if you have an accelerating essential oil, we would put that in at trace. But in this case, I know all these essential oils are not going to accelerate, so we're just going to pour it right in there. Oh, that smells really good. Next, remember this is our base layer, so we're going to be adding in our colorant. And then we're going to stick blend. We don't have any lye in here right now, but I'm going to put my glasses on anyway, just in case. If you ever gotten clove essential oil in your eye, you know how much it stings. All right. And now we're going to make our second bucket. It's going to be the exact same thing, except it's going to be cream instead of green. All right, so we have our two colors now. All we need to do is add the lye. All right, we're back. So we have our slab here on the table. We have our very first layer. I always love looking at the soap just to remind myself of what I'm doing. You'll see we've got a little swoop here on our soap. So we're going to do that with the spatula. And then we're going to make our second layer as a whole separate our second layer is going to be a separate batch. All right, now that we're going to start working with lye, we're going to put on our gloves. Now, our lye is already cool and ready to go. The most important thing is your safety glasses. Anytime you're working with lye, please be sure to wear glasses and cover your eyes. If you get any lye in your eye, even just a tiny amount, it can be permanent damage to your eyes. So you want to be really careful. All right, so I've got my stick blender here, so we're ready to go. Stick blend while pouring the lye. And the reason is I feel like it gets more incorporated instead of sinking right down to the bottom. All right, so our lye's all in there. We're going to stick blend to probably more of a medium trace for this particular soap because we want it to set up and make that texture on the top. All right. That looks pretty good to me. We have made this soap many, many times, so we kind of have a feel for what the batter should feel like before we pour. It's kind of a difficult thing to explain, but basically it feels like there's a little bit of thickness to it, but it's not too thick. So you can see with this camera up here that there's a little bit of a trace on here. I like to stir this for a little bit just to make sure everything's incorporated and kind of loosens up the batter as well, which is nice. All right. Okay. Okay, so there's our first layer. Everything out of the bucket. Mint soaps are some of my favorite soaps. I know some people don't like mint, which is always shocking to me, but I mean, you probably can tell by the name of our company that mint is a favorite. So we're just gonna kind of shake our mold a little bit, make sure that the batter is evenly distributed. Tap it a little bit just to get the air bubbles out. I also kind of like to smooth it out. And it's nice to give this a little bit of time to set, so we should be able to texture this in just a second here. We've got these notches along our slab, which means that this is going to be one loaf. There's a second loaf, the third, and the fourth. So that's how I know where to do my design. So this bottom part has just been poured, and then we're gonna create this little wave. And this little wave is very simple to do. Basically, all you have to do is create kind of a little side mountain with your spatula. You basically go to the edge of one of the loaves and swoop it up. And you can already see that the batter has gotten quite a bit thicker because the batter is holding these peaks. And that's it. We're going to do that for all 4 loaves. All right, so that's our first layer, all done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to blend up our second layer, which is going to be the plain layer that we're going to put on top of here. We want to make sure that this is set up pretty well before we start pouring. Luckily, this particular recipe I know sets up pretty quickly. All right. We're gonna move some stuff out of the way and move on to the next layer. All right, so this is layer number 2. We're gonna pour this right on top of this layer. First, we're gonna add our lye, blend it up, probably to more of a light trace this time because we want it to be pourable and be able to get across the entire surface of the slab. We'll get the rest of our lye out. By the way, these buckets, which are 6-quart buckets, are really great for making soap. If you have those Nurture soap molds, the 5-pound wood molds, this will fit exactly 2 of those. So it's kind of a nice size just for that. All right, we didn't stick blend that very long because we want to make sure that it stays liquid. We're done with our stick blender. And again, I'm going to stir this up so that it loosens up the batter a little bit and makes sure that everything is incorporated pretty well. And then we're going to go. And we've got these peaks in here. So when I'm going to pour this, I'm going to go right in here in this valley. The reason is that if we hit the peaks with the batter right off the bat, they'll probably get messed up. So we're going to start in the middle and move quickly around. I'm going to go before this gets any thicker. So I'm going to stay in the same spot because now the batter is actually kind of breaking the fall of the rest of my batter. You could have somebody help you with a spatula for this part. Normally when we do this, we're making 3 molds at a time. So the batter has a really long time to set before it has to be poured, which means that our bottom layers are always pretty hard. All right, I'm gonna shake this up a little bit. So now our top is ready and we're gonna move to texturing. So almost all of our bars have this, I mean, we call it kind of our signature top. Basically, it's the top that we use for nearly all of our soaps. And then we often put botanicals right in the center like this. So we are going to test our batter and see if it's ready. I use this spoon, which is just a spoon from my kitchen. This has been my trusty spoon for a long, long time. And you can kind of see that there's peaks here and it is holding, but I find that this is a little bit too light still yet. So we're gonna wait a little bit until our batter gets a little thicker. So I just checked it again and we're ready to go. It's probably only been about 1 minute. So we're gonna texture the top. I like to go when this is fairly thick so we get some pretty good peaks going on here. All right, this is the last loaf. Remember to always wear your eye protection and everything, even while you're doing this, because the batter still contains lye. You don't want it to splash up on you while you're texturing. All right, this is the second part of our texture for the top. A lot of soap makers make really beautiful, intricate tops. We make a lot of soap here and ship out a lot of soap, so we can't really spend too much time on our tops. We still make an artisanal soap top, but it's pretty simple. So now I'm putting on peppermint leaves. This is rosemary, mint, and juniper. So mint is one of the main ingredients in here. So we're adding just a little touch of mint to the top to kind of remind people of that. Just a little bit, not too much. And then we have juniper berries that we're gonna put on top. Now the juniper berries, they're not really gonna stay on here unless we kind of set them in a little bit. I don't really wanna set each individual berry at a time, so what I do is I just kind of sprinkle them on randomly. And then if there's any spots that are, look a little low, I'll just go back and add a berry over there. And then once we're done this part, I'm gonna go back and kind of press all of these berries into the batter so that they don't fall off when we cut. So I use these skewers to help push all the juniper berries on. I just kind of quickly go through and just press down just a little bit so that those berries aren't gonna go anywhere. This part is very tedious, but definitely worth it. All right, so we're all done our soap. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time for another Muddy Mint video. Thanks, have a great day, bye.